We are. Hello, 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 beautiful people. It is your host with the most, and we are back with another special episode. It's K Capri, and this is a wealthy and healthy podcast. So, y'all, I've been working hard for y'all to try and get y'all some great information, and I got another interview. Like we've been doing so much work. I'm ready for y'all to get some more information, and today we're gonna do something really special. I wanted to actually start transitioning again. You know, I like to do my transitioning, and I like to bring you guys so much different stuff. But I want to start talking about community. As you guys know, we talk about a lot of stuff on the podcast, right? But right now in this age, in this day and time, in 2026, and what is it? Is May? Or it's May. It's May 8th. It is May 8th, 2026. Like, we got to start being here for each other and start bringing each other together and building each other up, right? And that goes for women, that goes for entrepreneurs, that goes for men, that goes for parents, that goes for children. It is all about the community. Okay, so I have something very, very special for you guys today. All right, so we are going to chop it up like we always do. I have two very, very special ladies with me today that are going to talk about the entertainment industry. Okay, we coaches, right? All of us are coaches, right? But when we talk about mindset, when we talk about building, when we talk about success, right, the entertainment industry is something that you guys have not seen a lot of behind the scenes about, right? And if you guys see a lot of behind the scenes, I don't know about y'all, but I see a lot of controlled information and I see a lot of negative stuff. But today we're here to talk about the positive stuff. Okay, we're here to talk about real people making real change in real people's lives. Okay, so today I have two incredible ladies with me today. I always let my people introduce themselves, but I am especially excited for this episode today because I have two people coming to talk about entertainment, and I love entertainment. So without further ado, I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. But we have Miss Casey and Miss Donna Marie. I would love for you guys to give them a round of applause, and let's keep this going. It is the Empowerment Entrepreneur Challenge of 2026. I know what you guys want to learn from us today, and we're just going to give you guys some game, okay? So Miss Donna Marie and Miss Casey, please let us know where you're from, what your title is in your company, and what are your biggest goals in 2026 going in, and what are you hoping to accomplish with your business this year? And thank you again for you guys coming, and yeah, I'm gonna let you guys go.
I'm Casey. I am the acting and audition coach here at Screen Acting School. I live in a little cabin in the woods with 2 dogs, 3 cats, and 100 chickens. And my biggest goal is to help actors become as successful as they possibly can, actors from around the world.
100%. And I'm Donna Marie. I'm the mindset and visualization coach here at Screen Acting School. I love dance, people watching, traveling the world, and really great coffee. And along with Casey, my job is to help actors believe in themselves as much as we believe in them so that they can go on to do really great things. That's a powerful mission of ours.
Yes, I love it. And we are actually I want everybody to hear this real quick, right? Because I met these beautiful ladies on social media, okay? Met them on social media, and we talked, through a mutual connection, right? And we just wanted to bring impact, right? So that's what we're here to talk about today, right? And with the entertainment industry, there's so many different people that want to get in. They don't know how to start. They don't know what comes with it, right? They're nervous and they need some type of coaching, right? So I want everybody to start thinking if I want to get into the entertainment industry, if I want to be an actor, I want to be an actress, if I want to learn how to dance, you may want to just be like a crash dummy. I don't know. You just may want to be a backup, or you just want to figure out where to start. This is going to be the video for you guys to watch, right? So these wonderful ladies have a business and they are partners. But I know what everybody's thinking. How did you two meet, right? And you're in Vancouver, right, Casey? You said?
I'm in.
Right. So how did you guys meet each other from so far away? How did that work?
Well, Donna Marie and I actually met through her daughter, Mariana. I was coaching Mariana as an actor. And I remember thinking, why is this kid so confident? Who made this? And she ended up winning a $250,000 scholarship for a private school where the stars send their kids to for high school. And this is actually so insane. I was like, who is this woman who's taking care of this kid?
Yeah, well, when you say it like that, it sounds so casual, right? Ooh, $250,000 scholarship, no big deal.
Right. But I mean, that's what you taught Mariana to think like it's no big deal. And she is just unstoppable. She recently booked a role in a major TV series. We can't tell you what it was because it's a non-disclosure agreement. But she went in and she worked with the leads like a pro.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
Honestly, though, Anna and I, we've been working on mindset and confidence for years, like since she was a baby, right? So visualization, self-talk, that emotional resilience, right? Like
Yeah.
you talk about in your podcast, Kay, all of that stuff. Actors, most of them usually ignore that part until you
Yeah.
find them like crying in a parking lot after an audition, right?
which is basically an actor starter pack.
Right.
Totally. So Casey, she kept asking me questions about what I was doing with Mariana. What's going on here? What are you up to? And she'd seen the huge difference and the growth that it
Yeah.
made of Mariana. So
Yeah. And I was like, hold on. Okay, wait. If actors have this kind of confidence along with great training, wow.
Yeah.
And my clients were booking everything from commercials to leads in series and films, but I was looking for someone to help make each and every single one of them completely undeniable in every audition.
yeah. And that's when Casey invited me to start working with some of her actors too.
Like 100% right away.
Right.
Like it felt like the actors could finally breathe, Kay, because it's very stressful acting, and they just started becoming stronger human beings. It was
Oh,
fantastic, and it continues to be.
that's
Yeah.
exactly it, right? We just kind of realized that together we could help actors emotionally, creatively, mentally, really in a much deeper way than either of us could do alone.
And now we basically share a brain in a Google Doc.
That's very true.
Yes.
That is true.
I love that for you guys because, like, I think every business owner, they're looking for that partner that knows what the struggle
Yeah.
is, knows what it means to, like, actually be a partnership, right? And be like as one, right? Moving as one. So I love that you guys, like, put in the time and actually, like, heard each other out. Like, that's a big thing that I think as business owners, we don't like to do. Like, we just don't like to hear people because we're so, like, especially if, like, you're bringing somebody in, like, you may bring somebody in and that's like your baby. Like, that's like something that
Yes.
you've worked on for years, and you think people may not see your vision. You may think that people don't want to see you win, but it's refreshing to see two, especially women, actually working on the same tip and actually doing something to change people's lives and making impact. And that brings me, like, to my next question. How is this, like, partnership, and how is this business like change your guys' lives, like change the trajectory, like when you started versus where you are now, and like how that's brought you guys closer?
Gosh.
I mean,
I mean,
we
ever since we started working together, you talked about community, Kay, and how important that is. KC and I are that for each other, right? So we build that for our actors. We have a whole program that we'll talk to you about later. But for each other, we're that backbone. We're that little voice in each other's head, or maybe not in each other's head, sometimes out loud, that says, hey, you know what? Maybe this isn't the route to go down. Let's try this, and we respect each other a lot. So we hear each other out. We know whatever the other is saying is said with love. Casey
Yeah.
and I have a lot of different opinions on a lot of different
yeah.
things. But because we respect each other so much, we're never trying to be right when we
Yeah.
talk to each other. We're trying to listen and to learn. And we find if you do that, gosh, we learn so much from each other. It is so cool. Yeah.
Yes.
And we're each other's second set of eyes.
Mhm.
Like I've never met a word I can't spell wrong. And so if I'm going to write something, I'm going to send it to Donna Marie to make sure that, the world doesn't find out how badly I'm
Yeah.
spelling.
Neither of us are very good at math, but two heads better than one, right? So it helps a lot.
I think that's it's refreshing to hear that, as an entrepreneur, like, and like it's refreshing to hear like two people saying, okay, I'm okay with, like giving you this because I know where your strengths and your weaknesses are. How do you
Yeah.
like as a business owner, right? And as someone who has a partner in their business, how do you guys like find the balance in that? Like how do you guys say, okay, I know this is when KC is supposed to shine and I know this is when, Donna Marie is supposed to shine. And how do you guys like I think a lot of people don't know how to just step back and let other people win, or they want to see people win, but maybe not go as far as them, right? Or go, get a little bit more successful than them. But how do you guys balance just being, a partnership, right? Because I want to highlight that a lot. And I think a lot of business owners, they're just okay with just doing everything by themselves, right? So I want you guys to highlight like how easy is it for you guys to lean on each other, and how like when in the hard times, right? Like how easy is it for you to like just lean on each other?
Hmm.
Super easy, but with that, I'll say, Kay, there's a learning curve, right? And that's a constant learning curve. Let's say at the beginning of the year, we start to plan out our year and we delegate tasks like, you know what, I'm going to handle this aspect of things. You focus on this and I'll go here. And then as we're working through things, we go, you know what? Like, no, this is not a good fit for me. I suck at this, Casey. Let's reorganize this. Maybe that's more for you to focus on because I can see your voice is really great with this and you're helping the actors understand that part better or whatever that may be, right? So I think don't be afraid to be wrong. Like it's okay.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with being wrong every now and then. And if you just take the time to reevaluate things every now and then, which Casey and I do, we have regular meetings where we go, okay, let's reevaluate how is this working
Right.
and be all right with going, you know what? We thought that was going to be the greatest idea in the world. Yeah, nope. Cross that one out on to the next. So we don't really look at things as like failure per se. We take it all as data and we learn
Right.
from it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I wanted to talk about something else too in response to that question. Our points of view in the world are very different. Donna Marie's a very spiritual person, and I'm a feminist, and I'm not a spiritual person. And we come from very different worlds and very different points of view. And because we respect each other and each other's worlds and points of view so much, we don't have the kinds of conflicts that can come up that have to do with ego. We know where each other comes from. So we know we're both coming from a particular kind of place. That's why we want to do things this way. So if she sees that I'm getting a little bit like, we got to do this only for women, and if I see she's getting a little bit like, I don't know how to put it, like this is way too spiritual for me, then we can express those points of view, and we know we're both coming from a good place, a kind, loving place, and so we'll talk it through, understanding the lens that each other comes from, and that's been really important for us. Have we ever had a fight? We've had a like a I don't really like this kind of thing, but
Yeah, we've had discussions, but we've never had a fight, I think we set up very early on a structure of respect.
yeah,
Respect for one another, and I think we've really been able to stick with that, and it's really done us a good service, I would say.
it's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell. I can tell. So it's like, and I think it's really important for people to hear the aspect of respect, right, in that structure, because like a lot of business owners, they might collab, right, and it might just be like based on business, but you guys have like a deeper understanding of each other. You guys understand people, and then that helps you understand people like other people, like your clients, and helps you, create a different relationship with that with them. And I think that goes for everybody. Like if you set your relationship up with a type of respect and like a mutual understanding of, this person may be like, my father's a Muslim, right? But my mom was raised in a Christian home. So like you see like those heads clash, right? But then, I grew up and I was spiritual, right? May read the Bible, but like I'm more of like, I know there's something out there, but I'm not necessarily, honed in on it was, Jesus or whatever that looks like, right? I don't want to get too religious, right? But I don't really like look at religion. I may look at spirituality a little bit differently and might, look at that differently. But when I talk to my family members, we always butt heads, and it's like, there's just like no understanding. Like there's no understanding. And I think when it comes to like businesses and entrepreneurs, like you may be like someone who was in the finance industry, like I'm in the finance industry, and I butt heads with people who are in politics, right? I may butt heads with people who, look at like for example, like Dave Ramsey. I don't know if anybody's heard of Dave Ramsey. He believes in no debt. Like he believes don't go get a credit card. And then you look at people like Robert Kiyosaki, and he believes like everything is ran off of debt, right? So you see like them come together and they can collab, right? So I think that's a big thing as entrepreneurs we have to start doing, is understanding how to collab and understanding like you guys are able to reach such a bigger audience versus, Donna Marie just focusing on spirituality, or you, Casey, just focusing on feminism, right? You guys can reach so many different people. And I think that's the bigger picture for me, at least, right? And for people like us, at least, like we're trying to make a bigger impact, right? So let me ask you this, right? Let me ask both of you, what is like the bigger impact that you want to make when it comes to the entertainment industry? Like, what did you go in seeing, and what is your goal? Like, what do you want to change?
Yeah, you don't ask the easy ones, but I do love it. I do love it. I
Mhm.
would say, Kay, a lot has already changed within the entertainment industry, right?
Yeah.
So years ago, it used to have to be that you had to live in Hollywood if you wanted to be an actor or an actress. That just, was what it was, right? And things aren't necessarily that way anymore. Most auditions are done through self-tape. So that means that there's so many more people who can tell their stories. They have an opportunity to jump in and do this. And
Right.
we think it's really, really cool, right? So we want people to understand, hey, yeah, you can do this. You can be a part of this. You have a voice, and it's a story worth telling. And we can show you how to do that. What do you think, Casey?
My God, I mean, you absolutely nailed it. It's really important to us that a diversity of voices are heard in the world, and
Mhm.
that people aren't. I grew up pretty poor, and so for me, it's really important that economics don't get in the, and for Donna Marie as well. I'm speaking for myself because of how, but for Donna Marie as well, we want people to have access to the kind of education we provide. Our star clients pay us a lot of money,
Mhm.
but for people who are just starting out, we don't want people to go into debt.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit on the side of Dave Ramsey in that respect, where it's, if you're paying $40,000-$50,000 to go to acting school, you're having to work pretty long hours at your day job to be able to pay that back in 5 years. And you've got to make a pretty decent salary and have a really low overhead to be able to do that.
That's
And
true.
actors aren't thinking of that. They're thinking, oh, I want to go to this school because they're prestigious and all that kind of stuff. We have clients who've gone to Yale who have not done very well at all as an actor. We have clients
Yeah.
who've only worked with us and who've gone on to be in Oscar-winning films, gone to the Oscars, you know, last year. So
Yeah.
I think for us, it's really important that people of all anybody, anywhere, can be able,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, black or white, yellow or green, it doesn't matter. You've got to be able to have access. Otherwise, the entertainment industry is just an echo chamber of wealthy voices telling people what to think and feel, whereas the world is a much more interesting place than that.
Yeah, yeah, 100% Casey. And we want everyone to have access to the same level of coaching, have the ability to have access to that, right? So if this is what you really want to do, there's a path to do that. You can do that. So now it is about your determination, your hard work, your mindset. Are you willing to put that in, as opposed to, I'm doing all of that, but I don't have access to this, shiny gold thing over here. We're
Yep.
trying to break down some of those barriers. And as I said at the start of that question, with the advent of self-tape auditions, which is what is the norm now, that has
Yeah.
made it really, really possible. It's really cool.
Doesn't matter where you
That's
live.
that's a different take. Like, and I like that you guys, like, you both kind of brought this up a little bit, right? And when we talk about, the aspect of entertainment, right? And you think about like what you need to have, like what type of confidence you need to have, who you need to have behind you, what type of, because like the entertainment industry, right? It's very influential. You see there's so many different ways that you can control a room if you're in the entertainment industry. Quiet is kept, right? But if, like, what type of etiquette do you need to have to even be an actress, to even be like in that type of space? Like, what type of drive do you have? What type of, person do you have to be? Or is it just like you just come in and you just do what you have to do and you just go home? What type of environment is the entertainment industry?
Work ethic you need in this industry is real work ethic, same one you have. It's like, it's not like I bought a ring light, so now
Yeah.
I'm famous. It's not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
true. So true.
Yeah. I mean, people hear about somebody getting discovered at Starbucks or something like that, and then they think, oh my God, I'm one latte away from, being
Right.
famous. That is not it.
And honestly, the actors who actually succeed are the dedicated ones. Usually, right? There are those one-offs who,
Yeah.
I got discovered at Starbucks,
Right.
but that really never happens. The actors who actually succeed are usually the ones who are dedicated and they're training consistently, right?
Exactly. It's a profession. Donna
Yeah.
Marie always says, if you wanted to be a doctor, you wouldn't walk into a hospital and say, I care deeply about people and I watch Grey's Anatomy. Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't
No,
Right.
they'd escort you out immediately, right? You
Yeah.
need to train. You need that level of training to become a doctor. Same is true to become a professional actor, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. And it's
that's
emotionally too, though,
right.
right?
Yeah. What
Actors.
about the emotion side? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What is it about the
Oh, that's
emotion
okay.
side? Like, what
Well,
is it like emotions? Like, because they can be all over the place for so many different people. But like, what is it about the entertainment industry that brings people's emotions like to an all-time high?
Mm.
there's a lot, you need a lot of resilience, okay? Honestly, right? You need to learn how to handle rejection,
Yeah.
comparison, uncertainty, all of it, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. It's gonna humble you super fast. You're
Mm.
gonna be
Oh,
like in
Yeah.
your shoes, before breakfast, just feeling like nothing if you don't have your
mhm.
mental game together.
So
Yeah.
true. Keep growing, right? And you stay connected to why you love this work. That's
Yeah.
really, really important. That's where that momentum starts building,
That is good. You should write that down, everybody who's listening. It is so important to keep
It's
going. But
Yeah.
talking about emotions and emotional connection, Donna Marie and I are just working on a workshop for June in Vancouver, and it's about emotional connection. And one of the things we teach is not just helping actors be able to cry, but helping actors to be able
hello,
to also to have that star quality. That's an emotional thing. So in order to get that, you need to be able to know how to connect to that.
That's deep. Like, it's with everything. Like, if you want to be like, when you see like famous basketball players, right? One of my
Yeah.
favorite players is the late great Kobe Bryant, right? But if you were to ask like certain people, like you go ask LeBron James, you go ask, Michael Jordan, right? They just knew, like they knew that that's what they wanted to do. They knew that that was where they wanted to, make a career, and they stayed even when they lost, even when they went up and it came back down. They still stayed in that career. And I think that it's important for any entrepreneur, or not even an entrepreneur, any person to understand, like if you want to get into any type of industry, but specifically the entertainment industry, whether that's music, whether that's acting, whether that's, directing, whether that's, dance, whether that's, whatever that looks like for you as an entertainer, you have to understand where you're starting. Like you have to understand where you want to go too. Like that is going to keep you grounded. And like you talked about this a little bit, Donna Marie, like when you are on the way up, like you have to keep that drive, and that that like that want to be more, like that urge to be more. So I think that that's the biggest thing when you want to be successful in anything, right? Because like in this day and age, like so many different people, like you're like we're seeing, you guys probably are looking at this closer than anybody, but like you seeing the streamers now. The streamers are going
Yeah.
crazy. So they're going crazy, but it's like I could be sitting in, you see like, back in the day, you had to do so much different stuff. You had to go, you seen green screens. Now people are just like setting up like at the McDonald's and they're getting, a million views, right? So like it's like really the person. It's really the person. If you want to do it, you're gonna do
Totally.
it. And if you want to grow, everybody, like if you want to grow, you got to have a coach, right? So that's why if you're watching this right now, you guys have to understand, like you need a coach. Like you need a coach. You need those people who are going to reevaluate your situation, who have a third eye, right? Like if like you're in a situation and you're like, I want to sign this so bad, right? but you don't really know what's in the contract, right? You don't really know what's in the contract. So you need people to know, like, well, this is what this means. This is how this works. And that kind of brings me to Hollywood, right? Because but like everybody talks about Hollywood, you know, that you hear so many different things about Hollywood, right? But I want to ask you guys, like, is it still the same thing, right? But is it still you have to go to Hollywood to be successful in the entertainment industry, or is it like, does Hollywood control things in your guys' eyes? What do you think? Like, is it still you got to go to Hollywood to be to be anything? Is that still the case?
No, absolutely not. But I want to talk about something that you brought up, which was LeBron James. So when my son was born, so that was 14 years ago. I am very nerdy and a dork. And I thought his dad is very athletic. I thought this guy, I've got to learn how to do some sort of sports. And I'm tall, so I figured he would be in basketball. He ends up being in soccer, but that's okay. So I thought, who's a famous person who does basketball? The only person I knew was LeBron James. So I watched him, and he has a coaching program that he does. And I was like, oh my God, I coach like LeBron James. It's all about the reps. It's all about the reps. Yeah. Same with Kobe, as I came to learn. The thing about people, so it's all about the reps. It's all about the reps. It's all about the reps. And the thing about Hollywood is you don't have to live in Hollywood to do reps. So you've got to know how to tell stories. People want to matter. They want to do something that moves people. Unless you know how to create characters and how to tell stories, they're not going to feel that. They want to feel something, and they want to create something meaningful. That's what actors want. You can do that from your living room online, and then you can do a self-tape from, if you're living in, like Donna Marie said, we have a client in Poland. We have a client that might've been in the pre-interview, but we have a client in Poland. We have one in Mexico who's got 2 series going on right now with all over the world.
Emmy nominated series, so it doesn't matter where you are anymore, right? Yeah. I will say this though. Kay, you mentioned you need a coach. You absolutely do. This industry it's not your typical 9 to 5, right? So it can be extremely tricky to navigate, but you don't just need a coach. You need a coach that has a proven track record of getting people to the level of success that you want to achieve, right? Totally. Because otherwise, you may be doing all of those reps that Casey was talking about, but you're practicing bad habits. You're repping the wrong things, right? So exactly. You need who can help you achieve what it is you want to achieve. And the best way of doing that is to look at their track record, right? So I want to make that really clear, because I think unfortunately in this industry, there's a lot of people who, sometimes willingly, sometimes not, just aren't at that level, right? Yeah. And, everyone's got to make money. And I get that. You don't want to be learning from someone who did a toothpaste commercial in 2009 if your goal is to walk the red carpet at the Oscars, right? That's probably not going to jive. Right. So definitely something to think about.
Yeah. And I think people who are at the top of their game, they get to live really exciting lives. Yeah. And they tell stories that impact people emotionally. As you're not getting the proper coaching, you're not telling those stories correctly, and that is very powerful.
Yeah, it really, really is.
So if the entertainment industry is based on telling a great story, right, and it's based on your track record when it comes to getting getting someone who's going to help you get from A to B, right, or help you get from A to Z, you start somewhere and you you got to do, you might start in that toothpaste commercial. I think I was just looking at this the other day. I did not know that Tyrese, I don't know if you guys know who Tyrese is. He was in Fast and the Furious. I did not know he started in the Coca-Cola commercial, right? And now he's in like one of the biggest movies in Fast and the Furious, and he's been in other movies. And really at heart, he's a singer, he's an artist, right? But he started singing in that Coca-Cola commercial. He started and he went up and he started doing small movies, and now he might, you have that, like that third, I think there's like three roles in a movie or a show, right? There's like that main person, the main person's best friend or whoever that looks like, who's always in that scene, and then you got that other third person that you're like, okay, that's basically the main person. You can get up there to that point, but when it comes to like a track record getting you from one end to another, I think that's like big, right? So let me ask you guys, what is your guys' track record? And like for everybody who's watching, right? Like if they're saying, okay, I know that I want to walk down the red carpet, I want to go to the Oscars, I want to meet Denzel Washington, I want to meet Octavia Spencer, so many different people, right? I want to meet Harrison Ford or something like that, right? What is like, where did you guys find your biggest or your most famous client, right? Well, like where did you find them, right? Because we talked about Hollywood, right? And how you don't have to be in Hollywood to make things work anymore, right? But where did you find that biggest or most famous mentee, and what about that mentee, like, do you think makes a star, right? Like what about them says, okay, this person is worth, this person deserves to walk down a red carpet or be on the Oscars or win an Emmy award? What is like, where did they come from? What about them screams star?
Yeah. Before we get into that, I am just going to touch on something you mentioned about the Coke commercial. Commercials can be fantastic, and we really advocate for doing them. I will say that, Kay, when you're working with a company like Coke or McDonald's or any of
Right.
things, they are hiring big time directors. Just so you know, a lot of people don't realize this, right? They think, oh, it's a commercial, whatever. You're rubbing shoulders with some of the greats. One of our clients, Virginia, was shooting a commercial not that long ago, and she was on set when the director got the phone call that they'd been nominated for an Oscar. You can
Wow.
make great money on commercials, so directors love to do it kind of in between films, right?
Right.
They can be on location, it doesn't take very long, and it's great pace. So, not knocking commercials at all. I will
Right.
just say that.
Not at all. Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting you said Denzel. I used to have a sign in my office that said "Be like Denzel," and that's all you need to train. But
I
and
believe
again,
it.
it's really about reps. It's really about, doing the work that matters, not doing work that doesn't matter badly. But the thing that makes people want to become actors is storytelling. So people want to matter, they want to move people, they want to do something really meaningful, and it doesn't matter where you're from. You know, your question was about where do we find our actors,
Well, I
right?
think Kay was asking where have we found some of our most successful actors. I'll tell you. So obviously we work with actors all over the world, which is
Right.
one of the wonderful things about working online. We have a client in the UK. Hi, Rebecca, because I know she'll be listening, who just got an agent. And that's a big deal, right? It's a really big deal. And we're as proud of her as we are of our client Beth, who's here in Vancouver, and she just booked her first big series, right? So again, it doesn't matter where you are anymore. So it's not about where are you finding them so much as who's willing to put in the work and who has a
Right.
story to tell, right?
And
You can build.
a lot of times people find us, like
Mhm.
agents or producers or directors or other actors will recommend them. But I mean, years ago, you basically had to live in Hollywood and survive on almonds. That was
Yes.
it.
How
It
is
was
it? Yeah. And now actors build careers from so many different places and backgrounds, quite
which I
Right.
honestly.
really love
Yeah.
just because it's the industry needs more real people than with interesting perspectives than just some guy named Chad who's got a great set of abs, right? You need more.
Totally, totally. And
Yeah.
we can tell you this. So, our client, Carlos Diaz, he booked his first professional role as a lead in a film that went on to win an Oscar last year. That was Conclave, right? And he's going to have a great future ahead of him. But before that, Kay, he'd only ever booked a student film. That's it. Like he literally went from student film to the Oscars. And Carlos is from Mexico.
Yeah.
So, that's from.
You know what? This morning when I was driving my son to school, he was scrolling through my phone and he saw a message from Drew Scott, who is one of the Property Brothers. I don't know if you've ever watched the show. And he was like, Mom, he's so famous. He was on SNL and he's from Alberta. Like he just, he's from Alberta. He's not from Hollywood. It doesn't matter where you're from. We can coach you. We work online. We can coach you.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's one of the cool things about 2026, right? Is that it doesn't matter where you're from anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest, like the bigger picture when it comes to like the entertainment industry. If you're trying to get successful, like, I've been seeing like I watch Tubi sometimes, but I've been seeing like sometimes I'll watch Tubi and there's like so many different like private, like not private, but like independent companies like actually creating their own movies now. It's not just Sony and like with the big guys, right? The big guns. There's so many different people coming out and they want to make their own stuff, right? And I kind of like I think the entertainment industry and it's music is part of the entertainment industry, obviously, but I think it goes like hand in hand with, acting and actresses and actors because like, you started off where, you just had drums and you just had live bands, right? Now you have people who can make a beat off of a keyboard, right? And now you're seeing people have home studios. Like myself, I have my own home studio, but like I still love to go to a big establishment and go to a studio, but in the same breath I'm still able to make the same amount of impact because like now in 2026 everybody is like, okay, I want to do it myself, right? And that is like a big part of entrepreneurship, right? I think we talked about this a little bit already, but I want to really like hone in on letting people know like as an entrepreneur, and if you're in the entertainment industry, you're an entrepreneur. Like you're an entrepreneur, you have a brand, you have people under you, you have people that like want to work for you and push your stuff, right? So I think that it's huge that we kind of transition into talking about what comes with that. Right. And I think that the big thing that I wanted to ask you guys, like, I'm little old me, right? I'm in Colorado. I want to start something. I want to become an actress, right? What, like, and I come to you guys, right? I come to Screen Acting and I say, hey, I want you guys to help me, right? How can you help me start and how can you help me build that up because it's a journey like we've been talking about the whole time and it's entrepreneurship, right? It's a journey anyway, but what is specifically about the entertainment industry is different and what like can you guys do to help someone start and build?
Well, I mean,
So,
train properly.
yeah, 100%. You've got to train and you have to do that properly, as we touched on earlier, right, Kay?
Yeah.
We coach our actors in a program called Audition Plus, right? And Audition Plus really, well, it helps actors become more castable, period. So KC works very, very closely with the actors, teaching them how to make casting lean in immediately, right?
Right.
Instead of hitting delete. Because, like, I know that visual is kind of painful for actors, but it's painfully accurate. That's what happens to a lot of auditions, right?
Yeah.
Casting watches thousands of auditions for one part. So if you catch them right away, they're on to the next. And
Yeah.
it's not, they just don't have time to waste, right? That's just the reality of the industry. So, that's what we work on. And we also help actors mentally and emotionally because there are so many talented people, quite honestly, that just sabotage themselves with fear and overthinking, like,
Right.
before they even get started.
Yeah, and they can be technically good. They can set up their self-tape. They can know what to do when their self-tape starts rolling, but they still panic. They don't have the mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're really helping actors trust themselves, regulate their emotions, as we were talking about a little bit earlier, and actually feel safe being seen, right? So I'm working on the mindset and emotional side for your career and your life. Casey's working on that emotional connection for your scenes and for your craft and for your work. It's really quite incredible.
Yeah. It
Mhm.
sounds like it's all in one. Like people can come and they can get everything that they need. Like, and that's the big part. Like, if you want to, like, if you guys are like to the people who are watching this and want to get into the entertainment industry, say you want to be an actor and an actress or whatever that looks like for you, right? It's really extremely important to understand that it's all about the behind the scenes part of it, right? I just seen, it was like a meme or something, right? And it goes back to sports again, right? Nobody sees you practice, right? Nobody sees the thousand times that you may have did a left hand layup. They only see when you're in the game and you make that game winning play, right? So that's the big thing that I think everybody should really start understanding. But here's a question that I think that, you know, kind of just came to me, but I really want to ask you guys this, right? Because you talked about, you know, everything is about telling good stories, right? So if I'm an actor or I'm an actress, right, and I'm most of the time, right, I'm telling someone else's story, right, versus a director, right? So how does an actor or an actress really, you know, display who they are or display their story, right? If they want to tell their story, how do they do that role to role?
So acting is being yourself under imaginary circumstances. So all of us can be a Hitler and all of us can be a saint. Every single one of us has had a time in our life where we've just been a real jerk or whatever it is. So you
Right.
take the given circumstances of the story. So who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? All of that kind of stuff. And then you bring yourself to that, but you also bring the story to you. It's it's like a patchwork quilt of trying to figure out how to create that. And part of that is why actors need guidance to learn how to do that so that they can bring whatever it is. And sometimes this is hard, right? When you're showing the worst of yourself, you know, when this scene requires you to show the worst of yourself or even the best of yourself if you're trying to be sexy and you're not really comfortable doing that with a total stranger on scene, you know, it can be very hard. So we help them do that, bring the best of themselves under imaginary circumstances.
Yeah, 100%. And also, Kay, when you're dealing with emotions, I mean, acting truly is the study of human behavior, right? And
Right.
sometimes the emotions that you're working with, they're really difficult. And I
Yes.
don't think people realize this on the outside, how much of a toll that can take on actors to have to be in that space emotionally for sometimes it could be months, right? If you're filming on set. So it's
Yeah.
really, really important to learn how to get in and out of those emotions safely. And Casey
Absolutely.
does such a wonderful job of teaching this because if you don't do that, that's when things like addiction and dependencies and this sort of stuff pops up because it's like,
Absolutely.
I can't deal with this. I don't know how to shake. It's like an emotional hangover and you can't get rid of it. Right. And people turn to other methods and it's unfortunate, but it's really, really true. Actors
And
need a support system.
and what actors, people who are new don't realize, they think, well, I'm a person, I could do this, I know what I would do. And people will often say to us, I think I'd be a really good actor. Yes, you would if you only had to do the scene once at
Mhm.
1 o'clock in the afternoon. But
Yeah.
if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're doing the scene where your mother dies and you have to do all of the angles and things get
Right.
screwed up,
Yeah.
whatever, you're doing that scene 10 times. You've got to cry 10 times in a
Mhm.
row with grips looking at you like, I want to go home now.
Yeah,
Get
it's
this
2
right.
a.m.
It's, yeah,
Yeah, gotta be
it's
back here in
really,
6 hours, like,
exactly. So
and a
they
lot.
have a real job that they have to do, and they don't want you to be messing it up.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand, as Casey said, and that's really, really important because it's important for actors to have a support system, people around them who genuinely do understand, who do understand their dream and what they're trying to build, right?
Yeah,
It's such a
so true.
difference. And I think that you may have even said this in a few of your podcasts, Kay, that mentorship and connection, they matter so much, right?
So
People that you have around you can completely shift your life.
right.
And especially for young people and for new actors, right? Having that guidance, it just changes everything.
Yeah, because actors will isolate when they get discouraged, and that never helps.
See, I think I'm gonna say exactly what you're gonna say, Donna. So this is a community thing. Like it's a community thing. Like and
Mhm.
like let me ask you guys this, right? If I'm the like a big, you see a lot of childhood actors, right? You see a lot of children that are actors, and they obviously need that huge, like they need a bigger support system in that type of scenario. But what, like, say I'm the mom, right? Say I'm the wife, say I'm the husband. what can I do to like help that person who's, you know, they've ran that scene 30 times, right? You know, those are long nights, early morning type of situations, right? Especially if you're trying to hit them deadlines, right? So if that is the goal, right? And you like, as I'm the support system, right? So I'm the support system. What are those little things that the support system or the community can start doing to be more, to empower our entertainers more? Because I think that's a huge thing. People don't see the behind the scenes, right? They don't see how many times you had to, you know, muster up those tears, right? They don't see how many times you've been rejected and you're like, man, I finally got this role. I can't do anything to mess it up, right? So what, as the community, as the support system, what can we do to empower those people and help them, you know, get through those long nights, that journey, right?
I'll tell you the hard thing, and then Donna Marie will tell you what to do with mindset and visualization. The thing that I would say is do not let them be an actor when they come home. No shit. No shit. They can't pull that shit. So somebody will be running coffee to them. Somebody will be getting them their wardrobe and all that kind of stuff. Make them be a human being. Do not let them be a star at home, whether you're their husband or wife, like you were saying, or their parents. They have to behave like decent human beings, and they should be like that on set as well. So if you're the parent of a child and your child is not picking up their clothes after they just take their clothes off after the shoot and they leave them on the floor, well, wardrobe will do that. No, they won't. Not for my kid. So really make them be decent human beings. I mean, just like you would in any case in your life, make your child or your partner behave like a decent human being. And sometimes it means make them. And Donna Marie can tell you how to keep them.
I mean, I want to talk a little bit more, to be honest, Casey, from the actor's point of view, as what they can do in regards to community. So you're talking about hypothetically, okay, I'm married or I've got loved ones around me who aren't actors. What does that look like? And that's really important. And I think what Casey just said is paramount. But I also think it's really important for actors to surround themselves with a community who does understand, because it's a weird one. It's a weird world. You need someone to talk it out with who gets what you're going through, right? And that community really helps you stay grounded and hopeful and accountable. Just being mindful of that. It's so, so important. And everyone has a role. Everyone has a position in that community. And just, you know, having that, we see it with our Audition Plus actors all of the time. And they're cheering each other on, you know, whether it be for the little wins or the big wins, they know how hard it can be just to get to that place, right? And then sometimes you need that shoulder to cry on, or whatever that is, that audition just did not go as planned. Someone who gets it, who's been in that room, who knows that casting director. Yeah, you know what? They're a tricky one to audition. Whatever, right? Like, it makes such a difference. And then what you have to do is to have those systems set up beforehand, right? So it's good to get into this situation and then be like, okay, now I'm going to work on the mindset. Now I'm going to start visualizing. Now I'm going to start believing in myself. That's not how it works, right? You want to have that set up ahead of time. You want to build that supportive community. You want to build that belief. You want to be doing that mindset work before you ever get there. And I will tell you this for free. If you think you are busy now, if you think you do not have time to do it, wait until you're a successful actor, because if you think you're busy now, you ain't seen nothing yet. It's really, really important to find a group that can help you be mindful of that, help you focus on that, help you train those belief systems in the right way so that you're ready when that success happens.
So important. And then when you get to the part where you've got stress, you'll still have your manners, which is really important. That, the actors, we want to be proud of who we coach. We don't want to coach someone who has a reputation of being a jerk.
Yeah, and we've let people go because of it.
We have. And we will again, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's huge. Like as a coach, right? As someone who does coaching, right? You want to find the people who are willing to put in the work, right? And of course, like every day, like I have clients that they're like, coach, I'm overstimulated today. And when their situation, right? Like I have a client, she has like 6 kids, right? And they're all like young kids. Like she has two
Yeah.
sets of twins. So she's like very, very overstimulated. So she doesn't have time to like sit down and read a law book full of, credit repair stuff, right? And then I have other clients to where I'm like, you're single. You just went out last night at the club. That's why you don't want to get up to go to the call today, right? So like as a coach, definitely like I think it's refreshing to like be able to find those people that you can actually help, right? And like we talked about this in the like I think this was the prelude, right? But we talked about like what your clients like seeing your clients make that transformation, right? Seeing that client say, "Oh my God, we just got awarded with the Emmy, or we just got nominated. I just got my first big role, right?" So let me ask you guys this, right? And what like I want you guys to be like so like get deep, right? But what is the biggest transformation you've seen with one of your clients? Like was it like more mental side, or was it more of like, yeah, you see the big steps in the career, right? But what is the biggest transformation that you've seen that you feel like, oh my God, I was a part of that, right?
Yeah,
That's a
it's
good
funny. It is a really, really good question, Kay. There's obviously, and I mean, it would be very, very easy to say like, Carlos just went from a student film to, walking the red carpet at the Oscars, or, talk about the Emmys, or any number of things. And I think that's probably what people would expect. But for me, I don't think it's that. Like, honestly, I think for me, the biggest transformation is sometimes just watching people finally start to believe in themselves, to
Mm.
believe that they belong, right? Like,
hmm
that's an incredible, beautiful thing. And what do you think, Casey?
I think that's it. Like it's almost bringing me to tears right now, actually. I'm just thinking about a student who, sorry, she did not believe that she was pretty enough. And, she was it was definitely an ugly duckling scenario, and there was another actress who was always in the roles, and she thought, I'm never going to do it. And she did, and she's quite successful now. And I'm not going to say her name because it's her story, but she was
Right.
devastatingly insecure. And
Mm.
to see her be able to do what she's done, it was so painful for her to be the ugly one,
Mhm.
to be the one that nobody wanted to bring in for auditions, and then to have to develop, to just, I'll just develop my talent, I'll just do it. And at the same time, she had a terrible physical injury, so she built through that and
Yeah.
kept going and pushing through it, and became a very successful actor who has worked continually, has never had a day job.
I mean, a lot of
Lots.
Netflix series, a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
But to
is.
see her go from feeling ugly to feeling like deserve to I belong here. Donna
Yeah.
Marie says all the time, Donna Marie says they've just got to feel like they belong.
Yeah, it's that transformation, right? From insecure and unsure to that deep confidence in themselves
Yeah.
and their work, right? And then booking those life-changing roles. That is
Yeah.
incredible to watch. Like that never gets old. I mean, we cry a lot, Casey and I, when we get and as I said kind of earlier, it could be coach, but I just signed with my first agent, or
Yeah.
like Beth was messaging us both separately when she just booked her big series, and saying, "Oh my gosh, I did it. I did it,"
Yeah.
and she said, "I
Yeah.
used the visualization. I was there. I created the world. I brought casting in. I brought the audience in." Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get emotional now, Casey. That's incredible, right? Because here's the truth of the matter. You can be or have anything that you want in this world, but you have to believe it first. You have to see it first.
Yeah.
You can't build a house without the blueprint. You
Right.
Yeah.
need
Totally.
it. And once you have that, then you can start taking the steps to, then you can get the nails and the hammer and the whatever, right?
Right.
And start building it. And when we see our actors just fly. Just go from walking in like, eyes at the ground, not really sure, to, booking on big shows. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we
It's a
always say you're one audition away from a life-changing role. You really
Mhm.
are. You're one audition away, and you don't know what that role is going to be. So you just give your all to every single one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
think I think that like it's huge for people to hear this side of acting, right? And I think that like I asked that question because like somebody had asked me this, right? They asked like what was the biggest transformation, in credit repair you hear people say, I helped someone buy a building, that type of thing, right? And I literally didn't have an answer for him, right? Cuz like same thing, kind of like took the same approach you guys did. You don't have to say big names, right? You don't have to say big names. You don't have to like because you know what you do, but at the end of the day, like it all comes down to, the people who are behind the scenes making the impact, right? Those are the people who are making real change, right?
Yeah.
Your coaches who seen you, first walk in the door with your head to the floor, right? Now you may walk in and your chin is up, right? So those are the type of transformations that coaches want to see, right? And again, I'm gonna bring it back to sports again because like when I was growing up, right, and I was in sports, right? So I used to play basketball. But my coach, my high school coach, he was all right, right? But my middle school coach, he was really someone who changed my life, right?
Yeah.
Someone who taught me how to, demand someone's respect or taught me how to, deal with like, and again, it was middle school, right? So it wasn't a huge crowd, right? It's not like, Madison Square Garden or nothing, but you still deal with some type of, publicity, right? And in some cases, right? And that man really taught me how to, look at myself in a certain light, right? Respect myself in a certain way and take that with me outside of the basketball court, right? Off of the basketball court. So I think that I love everything when it comes to a transformation, right? We as coaches, right? And us as just people, period, right? This goes for a lot of coaches, right? There's, in finances, there's something called a fiduciary, right? And that's basically just someone who, has your best interest, but, doesn't necessarily like, it doesn't have an interest, but has your best interest, right? So I think that when you think about the entertainment industry, you have to have a fiduciary. You have to have someone who's not going to make sure like they're not eating if they don't make any more money whether you go to the Oscars or whether you don't, right? So I think that's a huge thing to have when it comes to the entertainment industry. So I want everyone who's watching this, find people like Donna Marie, find people like Casey who are going to invest in your transformation versus investing in your success, right? It's
Yeah.
all about your circle, your community, right? And that's why the last half of this video or this episode, right, was about the community aspect of it. We talked about how can you deal with, rejection? How can you deal with someone who, doesn't necessarily know your worth, but even if it's you who doesn't know your worth, right? How do you deal with that on a day-to-day basis as someone who is just trying to, be an actor or an actress or be in dance, right? Or be, someone who makes music, right? Someone who does music videos. Maybe you're a video girl, right? There's so many different aspects of entrepreneurship. In the same aspect of there's so many different ways to be an entertainer, right? So I think that I want everyone to ask themselves this one question, right? If I'm going to be in the entertainment industry, what is it worth to me, right? And if the question is, I'm willing to do what I have to do, because like I don't like. I think there is a such thing as selling your soul, right? And then not necessarily in the entertainment industry, but in life, right? So we all deal with people who like you could have did so much more with yourself, or like someone may not be 100% happy in that job, but it's paying the bills, so I think that everyone has to start watching conversations like these and start taking things from it. Write down some notes. And whether you're learning or whether you're just taking things from it and saying, okay, now I know where to go, right? These are the type of conversations we have to have as communities. Okay. So that's why, the Wealthy and Healthy podcast isn't just about credit, right? We talk about so many different things, but this episode specifically has really put in a lot of things in perspective for me, right? I'm an entertainer in the sense of an educational entertainer, right?
Yep.
So that puts things in perspective for me, but also you think about people who are in music, right? You think about people who act, you think about people who are in arts, right? You think about people who do sports, right? Because that's another form of entertainment, right? So when you think about that, right, there's so many different aspects of it. There's so many different things that go on behind the scenes. So a lot of things that we don't see, but I want everybody to understand, like, these are people too, right? These are entertainers, but they're also people and they're also entrepreneurs, right? So that's why we talked about this today. So we have to start empowering the entrepreneurs around us, right? If you have ever been with somebody or if you ever known somebody who owns a business, there's a lot that comes with that. And when they come home and they ready to, wind down, it's time to wind down, right? But only other business owners know what that feels like. Like you're up at 5 a.m., but you just went to sleep at, 12 o'clock, right? Or even 2 o'clock, right? And you have to be around that community, right? So that's why we talked about community today, guys, and we bring up a lot of things that a lot of people aren't going to tell you, right? They're not going to talk to you about, and they're not going to give you like the real game when it comes to actually making something and being successful, right? And that's where the coaches come in. That's why I wanted to have Casey and Donna on this podcast today, because there's so many different layers. And whether you're in entertainment or whether you're just an entrepreneur, period, this video can help you, right? So I want everyone to please comment what you learned and what is your biggest takeaway from this episode, okay? And Donna and Casey, so I want you guys, so I do this with everybody who comes on the podcast, right? We talked about your biggest goals, but I do want to know your biggest goals again, because just for anybody who wants to see what's going on with you guys. But I also want you guys to give 3 things, every person watching this that wants to get into the entertainment industry, right? Say I want to be an actor, say I want to be an actress, anyone that you feel like you can coach, right? But I want you to give them 3 things that they can start doing today to start building their brand and start becoming, like, just getting some motion, right? Just getting some traction. If they don't know where to start, please give us 3 things that they can start doing to start getting them to that next level.
Well, before we even get into the 3 things, I just wanted to touch once again on the entrepreneur aspect that you just talked about, Kay, because actors 100% absolutely are entrepreneurs, but I think this is important not just for actors to hear, but for everybody. If you are an entrepreneur, a huge part of that is knowing who you are and what you want to be known for, right? So, and it's really, really important. I know Casey says all of the time to actors, saying I want to act is not specific enough. It's way too vague, right? So it's really important to start curating that brand right from the get-go. And a lot of times actors or other entrepreneurs will think, well, you know what, that's a ways down the road. I'll worry about that later. But you have no idea how fast that can come up on you. As Casey said earlier, you're only one audition away from a life-changing booking. So you really need to spend some time thinking about that, because it's really hard. When someone's offering you a big check, it's hard to turn that down. So if you haven't spent some time thinking about that and drawn those lines really clearly ahead of time, you may go down a direction that you don't want to go. And that can bite you in the butt. So if you don't decide where your career is going, I guarantee you that somebody else will. And you may not like it very much. So just something for actors, but for all entrepreneurs to think about. Yeah. So you were asking us about 3 things. I'm sorry.
One of them. Yeah. So 3 things that every person, like, if they want to start building that brand, right? Like, kind of like you just alluded to, like, if they want to start coming in, they want to, like, I want to set myself up to be one day an Oscar winning, actor or actress. I want to one day set myself up to be that, right? And I talk about this a lot in entrepreneurship, right? If we're talking about, you want to fund your business, right? You want to start out like you're $1 million business, right? You want to operate that like that in the beginning. So what are 3 things that you want to tell every actor or every person in the entertainment industry, right? They want to come in. What are 3 things that they need to do to get them to that next level?
I want to talk about this. I think it's brilliant that you say start like you're already in a $1 billion business or whatever, like a really big business. We tell that to actors all the time. So the first thing I would say, if you're just starting out, read full scripts. Read them all the way through, because when you get on set and you get new pages, sometimes you'll get 18 new pages that morning that you'll have to learn. So if you're not used to reading full scripts, then you're not going to know how to do it, and you're just not an actor. So read full scripts. Don't be lazy. Nobody reads anymore, but actors actually have to. So read full scripts is number one. Number two, get yourself a great self-tape setup. Now that might sound like putting the cart before the horse, but you need to know how to be on screen. So you need to understand screen dynamics. Everything is within this frame. So if you don't have a self-tape setup and you don't practice, then you're never going to book. You're just not. So do that. And then the third thing I would say is learn how to act. Get somebody really good. We are good, 100%. We're really good. We've helped a lot of people get successful over the last, 25 years for me, 10 years for Donna Marie and I together. We've helped them have real jobs or real careers without day jobs, that kind of thing. So go ahead and quit your day job is one of our favorite things to say. So get yourself great training. To read scripts, get yourself great training and get a self-tape setup.
And I'm going to add a number 4 to that, Kay. I know you asked for 3, but build your community. 100%. Stop isolating yourself. Mentorship matters. Community matters. Connections matter. Nobody does this alone. Nobody does this alone, right? So you've got to build that community. Go out. We have a wonderful community. If you want to be a part of it, there's certainly ways that you can go about applying to do that. But if it's not us, there are other communities. Look in your local area. You can go in Facebook groups and find local acting communities that you can meet people who are doing what you're doing, and you can start building that community. So important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys,
I thought she wanted 3 from each of us.
Liz actually wrote a little bit of that down, and it's recording, so I'm going to take some notes when I watch this. Yes, Donna, please give me your 3, because like you guys both have different aspects of like your expertise. So please give me.
All right. Well, I just gave you 1. Build a community. There you go. The second is learn how your brain works. Understand, be mindful, because your thoughts shape your actions and your actions shape your future, right? That is so, so important. You can, every moment of every single day, you're either training your subconscious mind, you're training your brain for mediocrity or for incredible success. Yeah. So what do you want to be doing, right? So understand, be mindful, learn how that works so that you can start training your subconscious mind to be your best friend, to be working for you. Because it absolutely is. I'll tell you this, your subconscious mind has been working for you since day 1. Right? It keeps your heart beating, it keeps you breathing, but all it's doing is going about fulfilling the commands that you give it every single day, right? So if you're telling yourself every day, you know what, I'm never going to make it. People like me don't get famous. They don't act. Guess what? Your subconscious mind is going to go about making sure that's true. But if you tell yourself every single day, you know what, I can do this, and you're surrounding yourself with that community and you've got people picking you up and you're the captain of that ship, your subconscious mind's going to go, okay, yeah, I can walk into this room confident. I can bang out this self-tape, right? It's going to make sure that happens. So all of those private conversations that people think that they're having with themselves all the time, they're not private. They never were. Your subconscious mind is always, always listening. So be mindful of that. And then mentorship, as Casey said, find yourself really great mentorship. Nobody builds this career alone. It just doesn't happen. When you see famous actors, they all have a team around them, right? They all have a team helping them out. They all have a community. This isn't, and even the job itself isn't a solo project. There's directors, there's producers, there's, hair and makeup, right? It's a team effort. So yeah, those are my 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know.
That's right. Yes. Okay, guys. Okay. Everybody who is watching this today, right? You have 3. Y'all got like 6. Honestly, y'all got like, we really got like 50 or 60 things, because every single question today was tailored for you guys to learn. But let me tell you why we do this. Okay, when we get on this podcast, right? And our goal is to teach, right? And it's to make an impact. What we want to tell our viewers, right, is we're here for you, right? We're here. And when you talk to anyone who's gotten to a certain space in their life, right, and when it comes to a certain ladder of success, right, everyone had a mentor, okay? And I love what you guys are talking about when it comes to mentorship and teamwork, right? Donna, you just said there's hair and makeup, right? Even the little things like the hair and makeup are huge, right? I always go back to when I was first starting out. I was really young. I was like 16 or 17, right? And I used to work at Burger King. And so when you think about the system, right, the system itself is $1 million system, right? Whether we're selling dollar burgers or we're selling, $50 burgers, right? The system itself, it runs, right? So the person who's back there doing the prep may not be the biggest, they're not going to be MVP, right? But you can't run a business, especially if you're selling food, without prep, right? So there's certain things that, we can bring it back to sports again, right? You see a basketball team, only around like 10 to 15 people. You see a football team, the starting line is about 10 to 15 people. You have blocking, you have left ends, you have tight ends, you have people who are snapping the ball, you have offensive line, defensive line. All those people are going to get the ring if they win the Super Bowl. Okay. So when they win the Super Bowl, they're making 50 to 60 rings, right? When you see entrepreneurs or you see people win awards, right? They're not just going up there. They're thinking they mama. They're thinking everybody who, everybody who had something to do with that. So, and this goes for everybody, right? You cannot do it yourself, right? You need to have people around you. You need a community. And that is why I wanted to do this episode, right? When it comes to entertainment, when it comes to content, when it comes to business, when it comes to entrepreneurship, you have to have a community. You have to have a mentor, and you have to know what it's worth to you, right? So I think that, with that being said, like, everybody just ask themselves, what do I want to do? And if I do want to do this, who am I going to go to put me in position, right? And as a coach, I just want to see you put yourself in position, and I'm just there to help you along the way. So I think that, everyone should just tap in, right? Like, literally think, like, understand, like, what you need to do. Like, if you're investing, you're either going to invest time or you're going to invest money. In some cases, you invest both, right? But at some point, you got to invest. Okay. So you have to, like, want it, right? So for lack of better words, right? I love everything that you guys said today. Thank you so much for coming on. I want to give you guys opportunity. Please tell everyone and everybody, all of their links, everything like that is going to be in the description, right? So you guys don't worry about having to, put in the comments, oh my God, how can I get in contact? Everything is going to be below, right? You guys can book a call with Donna and Marie and their company. And I want you guys to just tell everyone what you guys got coming up, how, how important it is to you to get into the room with these people who may be listening. And what do you have to say to your next potential client? Give us the whole rundown for 2026 and let us know, like, where we can find you, how we can support you guys.
Yeah.
Well, the very next thing we have coming up is a casting director workshop with Monica Dahlman, who's a casting director in Vancouver, who works on all sorts of shows, and we're really excited about it.
It's going to be honestly such an incredible opportunity for actors, right? Because they're getting to learn directly from somebody who's actively working in the industry right now, which is really...
And they're going to get real coaching from her, for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that matters, right? Education matters. You need that real coaching, right. And growth really happens when actors stay curious and they are coachable and they are committed to that learning. So
yeah. And it's not just from your cousin Dave who booked a yogurt commercial, as we were saying.
Yeah. Like, no shade to cousin Dave, but so absolutely. So that's what we have coming up next. I think for 6, you asked our biggest goals. Really, it's just helping as many actors as possible succeed and just continue to grow that community that we talked about, especially newer actors. We really care about helping actors build a strong foundation early on. Yeah.
And if people want to get in touch with us, they can go to screenactingschool.com and we'll get them started on their dream.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love to do that. You can also watch our free classes on our YouTube channel. We teach a free class every Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. That is Hollywood time. So you can go ahead, you can join us live, and you can see all of the replays of our free acting classes on YouTube. And please go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It really allows us to keep bringing you really great classes week after week. And you should all subscribe to Kay's YouTube channel too while you're at.
Please. Yes, of course. Yeah, I love it. I love everything that you guys said today. This was like one of my favorite episodes when it comes to like really talking about like building something and, you know, just helping people in the masses, right? That's like one of my biggest goals in 2026. So I love to align with people who really are out there like in the fields doing the work, right? So I love everything that you guys said today. Thank you so much for coming on. Like Donna said, please like, share, and comment, subscribe, because, you know, like she said, it really does help us push more stuff out to you guys. And really, you know, like if we're trying to you know, educate the masses, we have to be able to reach the masses, y'all. So I would love if everyone just let us know how you guys felt about this episode, what you guys like took from this episode. If you guys want to see Donna and Casey on for part 2, which I guarantee you guys will, and even if you don't, I might just bring them on anyway. So let us know what you guys like really took from this episode, and let us know like if you're trying to get into acting, what's your biggest like you know, roadblock right now? Like, what's stopping you from getting into acting, or what's stopping you from getting into the entertainment industry all around? And we would love to know. And we, you know, like Donna and Casey said, that you can go to their site, you can go to their, you know, their podcast. Everything is going to be there for you guys, right? And we're going to put everything in the description. But with that being said, it is your host with the most, KDK Capri. Thank you guys for watching this episode. And please, please, please let us know what you guys liked about this episode, because I want to pick a few of your guys' brains wondering how this is going to work and how everything has been going. So please, again, like, comment, and share and subscribe, and we will talk to you guys soon. And thank you again, Donna and Marie. I'm going to stop the recording.
I was like, I think it's freezing. Bye.